Good evening, everybody. It's Dan's All About Arsenal, and we are back again for another Arsenal podcast. So, looking forward to getting involved in the chat with my good friend Josh, I've known forever. Vinny, I've known not long enough because this guy's a legend. And Alex, unfortunately, is in character form again, so he's not able to make it. But we're back, we're live. It's International Week for Arsenal, and it's always a funny one, isn't it? Because you go, well, what's going on then? What else is going on in the world? So, but I've got a few bits I want to bring up. And obviously, if you guys got any things you want to bring up along the way, but I'm going to kind of just summarize what we're going to talk about today because I want to talk about Victor Gyökeres and that hat trick. I want to talk about Ben White in England. I want to go through all these injuries. Are they real? Are they fake? Are they just being really smart? And we've had quite a lot of links as well, I think, for summer transfers already, which is interesting. And then I think one of the things that I'm not really happy about is the Lewis Skelly links to Man United, and that rumor was starting. I know, I saw it. I don't like it.
Bait.
I know it probably is, mate, and I've clicked it. So I want to talk about it.
Yeah, it worked.
It definitely worked. And then obviously there's just other bits natural come up, I think, from talking as well. Obviously we've got FA Cup at the weekend. So obviously Southampton, which is nice in a way because I think we're going to be coming back to play a team, not straight into a league game. We've got Southampton, then we've got podcast again, then we're going to have Champions League on the Tuesday. So actually we've got a nice way to sort of break us back in gently before we hit Bournemouth in the league, and get us back on track following the Man City result, which we don't talk about because no one else talks about it. No one even cares that they won the trophy. Do you know what I mean? So they're more interested about how many players we sent home from from the internationals. That's news. That's what the news is. It's mental. But I want to talk to you guys about Gyökeres to start because obviously Sweden, they need to qualify. They need to have a good game. Gyökeres just rocks up and scores a hat trick, a good hat trick as well. I don't know if you guys have seen the highlights, watched the game. Vin, have you seen any of these? I know we're like on the fence with Gyökeres a lot of the time.
To be honest, I've only seen the first goal, and that was the one. Was it a penalty?
No, that was the first.
That was the last one, I think, wasn't it?
That was the last one. So there was one, right, where it was typical Victor, clean through.
Yeah,
had a few yards on the defender, but still looks like he's wading through mud, and defender catches him.
Oh,
okay. I think did he try and go around the keeper or something?
Yeah, I think. The first goal I saw was a cross, and he was just, where a strike should be. He just put the ball in, back of the net, job done, and he did really well. Good positioning. But it reminded a little bit, not quite the same, of like the Everton goal where he was there. He was just the right place. He just popped up, bang, goal, 1-0, they're away. The second goal he did really well, and that was from if I'm not mistaken, it was from a goal kick. He took the ball, he took it down, he took it past the player over to his right foot, and then took the shot quite quick. It wasn't a powerful shot, more of a place shot, and it was a good finish, to be fair, Vin. But I didn't see how the penalty happened, but I just saw him smash it in the back of the net. It was all right. It was just more powerful than good, I would say. But what a result for him to go away, come back extra confident. Fantastic. That's what I'm really happy about. I think I did even prepare a little picture of our striker at the moment. And that was the first goal. Yeah, so they was taken out. That was a cross. So he hit on the volley coming across. He took it well, really, really well. So decent for Gyökeres.
See, I'll have to go back and watch that now because, as I said, I think I only saw the penalty goal, and to me that it didn't look. He lacked the pace to get away from the defender as usual. Defender ended up catching him. He went around the keeper and the defender caught him and I think took him on the ball. So I think that's why he got the penalty. But for me, when I saw that goal, I know they were talking about the hat trick, and that's the only goal I've seen probably 3 or 4 times over. And he didn't look like an impressive striker on that particular goal. But now I'm looking forward to going back and watching the other two to hopefully give him all the credit he deserves.
No, exactly. 100%. I think he deserves it. I just hope he comes back. I'm no doubt. I wonder if he'll get rested because he's going to have another game where he's going to be quite full on, I think, for them to qualify. I'd be surprised if he plays against Southampton. But if he's in form,
he'll probably be on the bench, won't he? But
maybe play the last
Jesus or someone, or even Havertz potentially will start that game.
Yeah,
I thought Jesus might feature.
But I'm glad for Victor, like getting a hat trick, like regardless of how he gets it. And obviously not watching the full game, so I don't know, how well he actually played. But he's looked a lot sharper, I think. I think that kind of, I know Vinny said about him sort of like running through the mud sort of thing. But he's, for me, probably since January, sort of early Feb, he's just looked that extra yard sharper, and his touches aren't, they're
That's
still
heavy.
not perfect, but they're a lot better than what they were. Like before, it was, I mean, there's like little memes and stuff going around of like this guy in like a sports shop, like overweight, and like they're calling him like Victor Gyökeres touches, where he's just like literally like levering the ball in the shop. Which I see the funny side of it, because he's but I think it'll do him a lot of confidence. Obviously getting a few goals, and I sort of found it quite funny, really, how you've got obviously other players that play in the Premier League, like what's his name, Elanga, who's at Newcastle, like obviously celebrating with him doing the
he was doing
like
that,
the Bane.
Yeah.
And I find it quite funny, really, how it sort of switches, like from being the Premier League, being like rivals and stuff like that, to then going away with your country and sort of still doing the same sort of thing. I find that quite funny, really. But
it's funny, mate.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to see him do well, and I think again, strikers especially, they're very much confidence players, aren't they? So if he's going to get a hat trick for his country, and potentially, obviously, I don't know who they're playing in the next game, but
I'll look at you.
Obviously, that's to then actually qualify for the World Cup. But if they do get through, then it's massive. It's massive for him. It's another boost of confidence, and hopefully he can bring that back to Arsenal and kind of carry on scoring some goals.
Yeah, exactly that. So they are playing Poland.
Yeah, which they're no mugs.
Doable.
They've got I know Lewandowski's the same age as us, but he's he's still a good goal scorer, and he still does a lot for him. I imagine Kirill is playing as well.
Yeah, I was trying to look up lineups, but I think he's been in the Polish team for a while, Kirill, isn't he? So he's a bit of a staple diet there. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. But Lewandowski was the one I'd seen pop up when they were kind of comparing the two. Obviously, his big age gap there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of if they get through. I think it'll be good for him to be playing more, have a proper pre-season.
I must admit, it's not. I mean, I don't really watch a lot of the international games, especially friendlies. I know these ones aren't friendlies for them, but I can't imagine it being a very thrilling game like Poland, Sweden. They're not the most exciting of teams, are they?
But I think it's got some jeopardy about it, though. So I think it'd be quite interesting. I think purely only for that reason.
What I mean is, as a neutral, it's not the game I'd go, oh, do you know what? I'm going to put that on and watch that.
No, probably not, mate. Probably not.
I think I'd rather,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Rather start watching a new Netflix documentary or something.
Now, well, there's always some good documentaries on, but I want to talk about this man. I think this man deserves a documentary. This guy.
Absolute
cinema. So I love Ben White so bloody much, honestly. And I mean, the fact that he's been called back in, he's gone ahead and get booed, going onto the pitch. He's gone and scored a goal and got booed by scoring a goal, and he walks off getting booed again because he gave away a penalty. And it's just like you couldn't have gone for the full emotions of Ben, but I think he just took it in his stride. He does what he does, and he's happy to be back in the England squad. And like, fair play, Thomas Tuchel, I think he's been really good, when I've watched him in the press conferences and stuff. And I'm not a massive, friendlies, all that rubbish. I've just I watched it out more of curiosity. I had it in the background, half-heartedly watching it, but more for Ben if he was going to play. And he had a good game, man. He was really decent, at back post. I don't know if you saw the goal. It was a bit of a tap-in, but he's there, And he had a good game, and I think he gives them a good option, which I'm all up for. I've wanted Ben to go before because of the fallout, which they've never disclosed fully what it was, but obviously it was a fallout with one of the coaches, wasn't it? Before I can't recall his name.
Steve Holland, isn't it? Who's actually at Man United now, isn't he?
He's I think they had a bit of a disagreement because Ben doesn't watch football. As far as he got called out, I think, in like a training session, and Ben was like, "I don't need this. See you later." That's kind of what I'd heard back in the day, but it's never really been confirmed what it was. But I absolutely love it. But I think I've got another clip as well for that. But yeah, Ben White scores.
I think for a lot of probably many other players or people in the game, as well as fans, it's probably quite hard for them to comprehend someone that plays at that level that literally couldn't give a toss about football.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, obviously I've seen a couple of interviews of Ben White, and he's kind of said, you know, I didn't grow up, you know, watching football, liking football. None of my family like football. And he sort of got into it just because he enjoyed playing it. And yeah, like, you know, and then he sort of said, like, obviously now that he's at Arsenal, where things have changed slightly in terms of probably due to Arteta and the coaching staff have made him very kind of like tactical. So they go over videos like relentlessly of you know, who he's up against. So, you know, like he's said himself, like, if you was to ask me a question about like what are the dangers I'm going to face against, you know, X, then he'd be able to tell you. Because he studies it in that sort of sense, because it's his job. So, which I actually find quite refreshing, to be honest, and it's kind of
it's quite normal, isn't it? You know, I think.
Yeah, it is. It isn't. It isn't normal in the fact that, you know, 99% of like footballers out there love the game. They've probably been almost pushed into it as kids, like because of their parents or you know, because of a family member or a friend or whatever, you know, that that's how they've got into it, and they've, you know, they've sort of looked up to other players so that, you know, as to their like idols and stuff like that, and then they're like playing alongside them, whereas for him it's the complete opposite. But yeah, I actually quite like it. I find it quite endearing, really.
Yeah, I heard someone else say, I think it was someone else I follow, and they were like, a partner's like a writer, you know, writes books, all this stuff, but she doesn't go home and then consistently read books. You know, it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? So like, you want to break away. You know, it's the old busman's holiday situation, isn't it? Like, you just want to step away from what you do day to day and have a rest, spend time with family, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's the normality of it. That's what I was like, respect. I actually really like that. But because he's not obsessively watching football 24/7, there's got a problem with it. It's all a bit blown up, like per usual, really. But yeah, big Benny White fan. What do you think, Vinny, about the whole Ben White situation?
Well, I mean, Ben White is what he is, right? He's an edgy sort of guy, is more likely to be the villain than the squeaky clean cut sort of character. Do you know what I mean? He plays that kind of role perfectly, and you can imagine in that England camp, management pissing him off and him just saying, "No, I'm not going to be spoken to like that. I'm not having any of that." And then getting the hump. It doesn't surprise me from a character like him, and I wouldn't want to remove that from him either. The only person I went and what was it? Who is that? The player for for City that was doing the kick ups.
Oh yeah,
Cherky, yeah.
That idiot. Jerky. No one else went and smashed him apart from Ben White. Ben White went and smashed him. So I'm glad he's got that edge about him. I wouldn't want him to lose it.
Vinny, I absolutely loved that when he done that, and he just got I'll take the booking. Yeah, he's an absolute knob, but whack.
Exactly, yeah. So Benny White has that. He has that edge about him, which is good. Wouldn't want him to lose that. And you know, the England fan base is quite touchy and quite temperamental. It can be like that. You know, they'll turn against Maguire when he's not playing well, and they'll have things to say after a game based on some of his actions. We've seen it before. We'll be seeing loads of it during the World Cup, I'm sure, unless we win every game. If not, they'll be looking for to make someone the villain, you know, if we're not doing great. So
always
keep going, Ben White. Keep going.
Do your thing. Exactly, Ben White. I mean, as Arsenal fans, we're the biased ones, probably in the sense of, I just love him. I'd love him to be there. I wanted him to be there in previous years, and they missed out having him, I think, because you know, who's the other option there? They don't seem to be favouring It's got Real Madrid have just gone absolutely blank. Who they seem to have left out?
Trent,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see if he actually does go, because he's the one who can, ping a ball, but he's not the best defender.
I think the thing is at right back for England, there's not loads of options. Well, there's quite a few options, but they're either injured or very injury prone, which is I think that's the kind of thing with Trent, is he's not played enough, and then you've got like Reece James, players like that who on their day they're brilliant players, but they're just too injury prone. Are they going to be fit? Probably not.
Yeah.
So he's got a good opportunity. He's got a good opportunity to get into that England squad, and I think who else you got? You got, is it Spence at Spurs?
Is Trippier right back or left back?
Trippier's left back.
Is he a left?
I think. Well, he can actually play both sides, can't he? I think he can play both sides, but I think he's getting on a bit now, isn't he, Trippier? He's a bit old and
he has lost his
sort of past it, really. Yeah. I mean, you've obviously
Josh has fallen over.
Yeah.
Where's he gone? I don't know.
I'm back. It's because I've got it resting on the sofa, because I've got the girls are watching Simpsons.
Oh, cool.
on mute.
It's a classic.
Because obviously it's the Easter holidays. I said, they could stay up for a bit. But,
I would have, mate. Well done, even better for attending. Well done. It's hard with kids. It's hard. But no, that's the thing. I think if Ben White, we'll make it continue. I hope he stays, in the team and everything else. But it'll be interesting to see who they actually smash out. I mean, who they've announced isn't the team yet, isn't it? It's not the full and final team.
No,
definitely not.
That won't get announced until probably about a month or so before, won't it?
Yeah. So we don't know injuries, all that kind of stuff. Hence why
exactly,
have gone home and stuff like that. And I think they've just been extremely cautious, because obviously club. I think what's nice about Tuchel is he's been a club manager, and I think he knows better than most to go, it's not worth it. We want him back for the summer. Equally, I know they've got club commitments. Been playing a lot of football. Just give him a couple of weeks rest. And I think that's, the whole Rice and Saka thing. They've gone there and then turned straight back round. But from what I hear, it's not them. It's not, they don't decide this. It's very much the England camp would go, you've got, you've had a lot of minutes. It's not worth it. We've got players. We're gonna play and see how they get on. It's a friendly with Japan. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think if it was a competitive game, things would be different.
Changes.
But I think there's too many friendly games being played, to be honest with you. I just find it a bit ridiculous, especially at this sort of point in the season. You've got 7 or 8 games left. Is it really necessary? They play enough football as it is, like competitive games. Like, I don't know, I just find it a little bit of a pointless kind of
we just think
time.
If you needed to qualify like the Swedens and stuff like that, you go, right, you guys don't play. No, everyone else qualified.
But so it never used to be like that, did it? Like
it's definitely got worse.
These games, they've kind of made more of them, and kind of, it's all money, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's all to get more money in for UEFA or whoever, or FIFA,
Nations League, and all that stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But okay, so Ben White kind of covered. Happy about that. And then the thumbnail I've used today was a little bit of manga-y kind of style comic, but I saw this come off and I stole bits, changed it, and everything else. Take these comments off. But obviously, there's quite a list of players here that are injured and out. But what's legit, what's not? I think we know going from this. You've got obviously Eza at the top, which
he's out.
He was out anyway, wasn't he? He's out for about 6 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah. I think. Well, I hope they're hoping less. I think they're hoping more to 4. But I mean, they're saying he might be back for City, which I heard today. But he's not going to start. He might come on, but great. But what's interesting is like we seem to be quite lucky in one respect. So one's out, Odegaard's coming back. Someone's out, someone else is coming back. So it seems to be like that, really. So we've always had that depth there, luckily. But we just hope it doesn't affect our form going in. Obviously, Rice. He'll be fine. He'll be back. I don't think we're too concerned. But the Madueke, obviously, he went off. I mean, the tackles they were placing. I don't know if you saw the tackles from Uruguay. They were going in heavy. They were going in like it was a full-on match. Like
that's what they're like, though, isn't it? I mean, they're that typical South American. And when I say South American, any team that's from South America that isn't Brazil, like they've always notoriously been like hard in the challenge. You know.
That's where Nkapia gets it, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, it is. You know, Argentina. You know, they're another one. Really, I mean, even in more recent years, even though they've got the likes of Messi and whatnot, they've always had like a player of that kind of ilk. You know, your Maradonas and everything. But then everyone else was just like an absolute arsehole and just like going like really strong in the challenge. And you know, like your Simeones and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I remember that on the Beckham day and I flick his leg out.
Yeah.
And then obviously Saka was the same as Rice. You know, I think it's more of a case of take some time, rest. Obviously Timber did go out, didn't he, as well? So, but I'm
surprised he actually even went, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Saliba didn't go at all, did he? But
nope.
Again, I think that a lot of that's just precautionary, and because they are friendlies for most of these players. You know, I just don't think they want to risk it.
Yeah, no, hopefully for sure. But I know then you had Zubimendi. He got sent back, and I don't know too much about Zubi. You know, this now we're not going to say it because there's no press conferences really at the moment. You're not going to hear too much until just before probably the weekend. What press conference will probably be on Friday, I imagine. So it'll be interesting to see.
Probably.
Yeah, and it'll be quite rotated to a certain extent, I would imagine, as well, to give not that players need rest, but it'll be interesting to see what team goes out, bearing in mind a lot of the key players have had rest or are potentially injured. We don't know, you know, the full ins and outs, which is frustrating. Same as Trossard, he didn't go. Saliba didn't go. Gabriel didn't go. Nkapia did come back, and I think there is a nibble there. But then, like I said, then Calafiori's just come back. So the time
has
again.
Calafiori come back, has he?
Well, he was playing for Italy as well. So
I know, but they've still got.
Oh no, not come back. So no, I mean, as in the sense he's back now in the team, as he can play, he's available.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, but which is again fantastic timing because actually when he came on, you know, the other day, he at least showed a bit more, you know, moving it forward. So I thought, great time. And then Odegaard, hopefully, would be great. You know, great to have him back now. We're still, you know, without Eza or someone in that kind of middle ground. But kind of, what's your thoughts on that? Fellas, sorry, Vin.
What's the story with Odegaard? Just remind me.
Well, he's back now, I think, because I think he was trying to be back for the City game, didn't quite make it.
Yeah,
didn't make it. He's now going to be back. He didn't go away international because he was just coming back, so they were like, "There's no point." But for us, I think he should be pretty playing and starting Southampton. I think is what we've been.
Okay, so he'll straight swap. He comes in for Eza.
I think so. So, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, general expected lineups for the Southampton game. Are we going kind of heavy? What are we doing? What would your starting 11 be, Josh? For example, if we're going sort of front to back, like where would you?
Oh, it's a good question because I'm a bit unsure, really. In that I don't really know the extent of any injuries, if they are actually injured, if they're going to be playing. I think even though, yes, it's Southampton, it is away, it is a cup game.
Yeah.
You know, they're not to be taken too lightly. So as much as I'd like to see a bit of rotation, I mean, I think like Lewis Skelly, he'll probably start.
You putting him left or in the middle?
Sorry,
you putting him on the left back, or would you put him up in the middle? Like
I think that all depends on who else is available. To be honest with you,
yeah.
They're going to do it before.
He could potentially be in the middle, but then it all depends on if Nkapia or Calafiori are back. Obviously, if Calafiori plays again for Italy, then it's going to be a slightly shorter recovery time and stuff like that. So they're all the things I suppose you've got to bear in mind. I think probably Raya will start in goal. I can't see after the final performance from Kepa him starting a game.
Can't do it.
I'd actually see if he was going to even rest Ray, I could see him going for like Setford or someone rather than Kepa, just to try and keep him out of the
limelight a bit.
Well, yeah, because just in case something was to go wrong again, Christ, he'd be
yeah, he's out.
He'd be crucified, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But don't you think it would be just like Arteta to think, he knows.
Well, yeah,
I'm Mr. Big Spuds. I know best, and to play him anyway.
Yeah. No, that's right. You are right. It's the sort of thing he would probably do, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. Yeah, and then I say it just all depends on who's actually like back and available, and who hasn't maybe had less time to recover. He might decide to try and keep them so that they're back then for the Champions League game. It'd be interesting to see what. I think again though, you're probably looking at Havertz or Jesus up top. He potentially might even start a Dowman. Did Dowman go away at all, like with the under-21s or anything?
I think it was under-19s. I think he went. I think, but he played, and I think all good there. So I think he could definitely.
You could potentially see him starting someone like Dowman in that game,
cool.
Which would be nice to see. To be fair, like I think he's one of them players that's so exciting, and everyone's obviously raving about him. And yes, he got he sort of was that difference in that Everton game. And you don't necessarily just from that game go, right, well, he's got to start every game and play every game now until the end, because that's just too much. And like Vinny has said before, like Arteta's one of these sort of managers that has sort of ground certain players down to a point where they're getting injured a lot, or they're just playing too much. You see the likes of Zubamendi, who's played an awful lot of games, and he's not looked his best. At times, is that because he's being overplayed, overworked? I don't know. I mean, there was an interesting interview with I'm trying to think his name now. It was an old player that used to play for like Liverpool, like sort of in the late 80s, early 90s, that sort of era. And he said when he first moved to Liverpool, he played 64 games, like of 90 minutes.
Wow.
Across his first season, and no one ever said back then. And I sort of make him right, really. Like I don't think that I don't think the workload is necessarily that much more.
It's the intensity of the game, isn't it? It's the intensity and the demands.
The demands of the game have probably changed, in 30, nearly 40 years. It has, like the pace of the game's a lot quicker. But I suppose you could argue that, well, back then, like the pitches were rubbish. The balls were different.
Heavier leather.
The boots were different. They actually wore shin pads or not at all.
Bit of newspaper
now they have like a little bit of cardboard.
Mini pad.
Yeah,
that's all those. That was the point.
I thought someone had gone and got their nails done.
Yeah.
The thing is though, with rotation, I think it's I can't remember when it started, but it's a reasonably recent thing. Because wasn't it Benitez that used to do that with a lot of Liverpool players? And at the time, I remember him doing it, thinking, "What the bloody hell isn't he just playing his strongest team? I don't get it. Why does he need to rest?" When they first started doing it, it didn't make sense to me. It's only now, as the years have gone by, you're like, okay, players simply can't make it through a season.
I think like with some of the teams that have like bought the league essentially, so like your Chelseas and Man Cities, because they bought so many players that they essentially had like 2 starting 11s. There was a lot of sort of talk and whatnot about rotation because they could. Because they could, and then sort of ever since then, it's kind of become a thing that you got to rotate your players for all the different cup competitions that you're in. Like these cup competitions have always been on. And yes, they might be slightly more demanding in terms of like there might be like 2 or 3 more games a season as to what there was like 30 years ago. But I I'm not too sure really what the answer is, but
I think again, modern game, isn't it? I think there is more games. I think more cup competitions, more pressure. Money's obviously a factor. It's going to come into it. I think so. I think it's not going to change.
For when do we play? Is it Sunday or was it Saturday?
Saturday night, 8:00.
Saturday night. I think it'd be interesting to see if Zubimendi or Rice start or neither. Obviously Norgaard's away and he's gone into the next qualifying stage as well for Denmark. So yeah, that was my point in terms of Lewis Skelly as well. So like if Zubimendi, for instance, doesn't play because he's got a slight knock or whatever, he wants to rest him, then I could see him playing in that sort of role. But again, like I say, if Calafiori, isn't as rested as he could be, and you don't want to risk him necessarily as well because he's very injury prone, and Hincapie's not available through injury, then he'll probably have to be left back, won't he? But I suppose we'll find out slightly nearer the time.
I don't see how Norgaard can't play. He hasn't played much football this season. I mean, if we're talking about the modern game, modern players and more stress and stuff, he really shouldn't be under it. I know he's had like a few games in a row now with the internationals, but he's hardly played any football.
No, I agree.
He's got to be fresh, right?
Yeah. And I've liked him whenever he's come in. He's looked
good. Definitely.
So he definitely deserves a chance. But like I say, I think it all depends on how they want to manage these like internationals and whatnot. Obviously they're in more competitive games as well, so the intensity is going to be a bit higher than what like the friendlies would be, which in general looks like that's where all the players have pulled out, is they're the ones that are just in friendlies. Anyone that's actually available that can play in like a competitive game, they're the ones we've got to potentially like manage differently. But then also look at it and sort of think, well, who else would we play?
Well, Mosquera played a few minutes, didn't he, for Spain? He got a few minutes in the end of the game. So he'll be in for sure. Mosquera will definitely be playing. Lewis Skelly, I think he'll start at left back, I reckon. I think it'll be a big mistake if Arteta tries to change things around too much. Because I've seen us do that before earlier in the season and we're really disjointed. So I think whatever changes are enforced on us is probably enough change. It's probably enough, as much change as we can absorb safely. Without giving up too much.
It'd be good to see Odegaard back as well, though. Because I think as much as I've probably been a bit of a critic of his this season, like when he has played,
I feel a lot of people have.
I feel like we do miss his kind of intensity in the high press, and just that every now and again, obviously he can just switch it on, can't he? There'll be like the odd ball that he hits with the outside of his foot, or do you know what I mean? He has got that vision. You don't lose that. So yeah, it'd be good to see him back and see if he can be instrumental in that sort of win against essentially lesser opposition. I think we also I think we need to just bounce back from obviously losing the cup final and just sort of
they've got a point to prove, haven't they, mate?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you think every time we've lost not many games at all, we always then go on this run. I think I said this last time. There's a run of like 18 games and so many games, and we always do come back, with a vengeance, if you like. Every time we lose a game, it's a funny one. Still, it's still a little bit hurts a bit, but it's just because of what it just means, and you could add something to your trophy cabinet. But I kind of have moved on from it a little bit, but it's still a little bit frustrating. But
couple of guys there. It's weird though, isn't it? How we've gone from that to the international break, basically, haven't we? And
and you're either stewing in it for a little bit.
Well, yeah, but you've almost not had any kind of it's a bit like a death, isn't it? You don't have time to grieve.
No, yeah, it's true. Life goes on. You're like, oh, okay.
yeah, and then you go, oh bloody hell, we did lose that. Fuck's sake.
That's the funny thing, but no one's really talked about it. It's nothing. It's really gone under the carpet. It seems almost. That's what it feels like. We've done it internationals. Then it's all been the talk about players returning home or the odd goal or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What's interesting? Did you know that Man City's top striker Haaland, he got sent home? Have you heard any news stories about that?
Oh, no. Did he?
Yeah. Oh, it's so different, mate, isn't it? We just reported on differently, which we know, but it's such a big deal because it may be the quantity of players who have not gone or not scored or whatever. But yeah, Haaland, he went home.
Not injured though, just home.
I don't know. I didn't care enough to look, but I just heard that he didn't go out. But I've got in the chat box because Luca, who was with us last week, guys, is in the chat. So he said about the team on Saturday. So I think we'll do a full rundown recap of that in a minute. But I just want to stick his comments up because I think without covering Josh's face too much. Sorry, Josh.
That's why I'm trying to move my phone. So
but I have to hold it. Switch around. I've just made it all Josh.
No, not my whole
face. I won't do that again. But I should be able to switch you around, actually, mate. Let's just stick you over there and stick that. Yeah. There we go. Right, save that. Right. So you're not being covered up completely. Take them comments off. So FA Cup game. Be interesting from now till May. What team selection we can cope without. These players are sorry, I'm reading that's completely wrong. These players are half of these players fit. Sorry, Lucas, I'm reading this wrong, I think, but it's the way it's been written. City game or sporting concerns. Yeah, I can't actually understand that question now. I've read it back. But who can we cope with? I think basically, we've got sporting coming up. Who can we get away with not playing? I think is what he's getting up at.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing in terms of like obviously against Southampton, lesser opposition, but we still want to win it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's that conundrum really of like who do we feel like we can beat Southampton with, and then also going into Sporting, which is away, isn't it? The first leg.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult place to go to. We've come unstuck there before. When we was in the Europa League, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Different times, but
different times. We're a different team now, but it is tricky. Obviously, they came back very well against Bodo Glimt. I must say that's
they did. That was impressive,
and they've got some good players. I just think probably will be too much for them in terms of they're not great defensively, and we're obviously a lot better defensively. But we've got to just go out there and show them who's boss really.
Show them
and get a decent result out there, because then I think at home should touch wood. Be
Well, I think if you look at who's definitely missing, right? So on the right, we've only got Saka realistically, because now his backup's gone, right?
I'd say down as well. Yeah,
I'd like to think so, but you know how that goes.
Depends what he's got on P in the next day or something like that. But it's
no, it's just Arteta whether Arteta chooses to play him or not.
Yeah,
really,
I think he should. He's got him there. Use him at his disposal. He's fantastic. And he hasn't. I know he's playing little other games in the background and stuff like that, but he's not had tons of time or minutes.
No.
I know he's got to be careful with what he gives. Even if he gives, half an hour to him at the end, make Saka do the bulk and then stick him on towards the end to just stick in something fresh and exciting. So I think that'll be important. But who's going left? And we're going Trossard or Martinelli on the left then?
Yeah, the usual suspects. I think that the good thing, those two are both healthy, and they're the only two we've got realistically, so they'll play. The good thing is if Odegaard's back, we know he links up well with Saka, so hopefully we'll get a bit more out of Saka, seeing as he's got, the player that he works with the best just to the left of him. So I think that might work out in our favour. In the middle of the park, I think everyone's healthy, right? I think Zubi's healthy.
Yeah, and it's just sad that he got sent back. So it's the only thing I don't really know what the niggle was about, to be honest with you. So Tell you what, if it brings up any more on our little,
I feel like they're all very like precautionary, like they
I think so. Yeah,
but no different to, I don't know, like a dead leg or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
they've probably been told if you have a knock.
I reckon that's all it is, and because for Christ's sake,
it's falling.
Get yourself a stand, mate. I've got this spare stand for you, Josh. I need to give you next time I see you.
Yeah, you do.
All these hours of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's
only because the girls are obviously up, and so I wasn't doing it at the table, but I'll be doing it at the table.
Fair, mate. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of the rumours. Obviously, I know I probably shared this photo maybe last week, but the Alvarez obviously rumour. I've got a little list of players that have been kind of linked with us. We talked about Alvarez and Kvaratskhelia, if that's how you say his name, last week, which Vinny got very excited about. And it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone would get excited about that. He is unreal. He's one of them players that, and he's only 25, I think, now.
Yeah.
He's really young.
I mean, same as Alvarez. He's not overly old. I think he's only like 24 or something.
I think he's not old, mate. Yeah, I think he's mid-20s, 26. I thought he was older than 24, but he's younger than you think, because he was at Man City, felt like forever. So I always thought maybe he's late 20s.
Well, he wasn't there that long. He was only there like 2 seasons, but he was like 19, I think, when he went there.
Oh wow!
And he's been.
But he wasn't pulling up any trees at Man City, from what I remember.
Well, no, when he was there, I remember seeing him and thought he looked like dangerous because he could score different types of goals. He could, and he did. He did score quite a few goals for City. I think that's why it was a bit of a shock when he did go to Atletico Madrid. But obviously, he went for quite big money. I think it was about 90 million he went for. And obviously, where City are cheats and, obviously PSR rules, they probably felt like they had to sell someone. So, yeah. And actually, going on to that, them being cheats. So, have you heard about them getting a potential 60-point deduction this season?
I believe it when I see it, honest with you.
Exactly. It could just be a load of clickbait again, but it's...
I don't want it this season. I don't want it this season.
Well, no. I mean, I don't. But I think it'd be interesting if they did it right at the end of the season, so that we've already won it anyway. Like, regardless. So if City were like, if we beat them by 3 points, and then at the end of the season they go, "Oh right, yeah, you've been deducted 60 points." If that was the case, they'd potentially be relegated.
Yeah.
Which I think that's. But then the flip side of that is that if they ended up getting relegated, then Spurs would probably end up staying up. So it's kind of like, a toss of a coin. What would you want more?
Yeah. What do you prefer? That's a funny one.
Yeah. But going back to the Georgian, I'll call him because I won't try and pronounce his name. I think he's an unreal player that. He also plays on the left, doesn't he? Because he's right-footed. He cuts in. So he would definitely be a massive upgrade on Trossard and Martinelli. Obviously, if you was to get someone like that, then one of them would probably go. In my opinion, I would keep Martinelli just because he's a good impact player. I feel like because he's still fairly young as well. He's quite hungry to kind of like prove a point and stuff like that. So it'd be good competition for him. Trossard, as good as he was at the beginning of the season, he's dropped right off, and he is obviously over 30 now. So yeah, I would see that as the sort of ideal scenario for that sort of thing. Alvarez, as you know, I've been a big fan. And I sort of mentioned him like pre-Christmas as a player that I'd like to see us get. So yeah.
But Alvarez is going to be a lot more. So Alvarez is going to be a lot more realistic because why would I'll try the name Kvaratskhelia? Why would he leave? Why would he leave PSG to come to Arsenal? We're not going to pay more money than they're going to pay him, or they've got deeper pockets than we have. They've just won the Champions League. They're going to win the French title. Why come to Arsenal?
But then they have dropped off a bit this season, and I feel like actually for as poor as Liverpool have been this season, I feel like they've got a good chance against them in the Champions League. More so than last season. Obviously, they lost to them in the last 16 last season. So there could be a bit of an upset there. And I feel like if they didn't make it, he's still young, but he might fancy coming to the Premier League. And what better to go to the potential champions? And we're obviously a pretty young squad. That I feel like he'd fit in perfectly.
Yeah, no, I'd love him. I'd take both of those in the summer. That'd be me done. I'd be quite happy. Yeah,
I think, like Vinny said, I think Alvarez is the more realistic. Also because Andrea Berta brought him to Atletico Madrid, so he's already got that relationship with him, with his agents, etc., etc. It kind of makes a lot of sense. And he's one of them players that can play across the whole front three. So you could. But again, if you was to get him, you'd probably see the likes of Jesus go.
I think Jesus is going to go anyway. I think he's one of our players to probably, and I've always liked Jesus, but he's just not. He's not the guy. He's not getting the time. He's obviously not to the what Arteta's looking for now. I think, and I think we've got to move on from him. We've outgrown him. Like when we had both Gabriel and oh my God, who's the other guy left back who we've moved on from now?
Zinchenko,
and obviously they come at the same time from City, and at the time was a huge upgrade. It changed how we worked. We had the old inverted left back and stuff like that, and that was huge. And obviously we've kind of come away from that a little bit this season. We're not overloading as much in the midfield, are we? We more seem to be going down the wings, down the sides with our Ben White's in the Timbers. Then obviously Calafiori, he will go into the middle, but it's not like he's fully inverting. I found
he just goes wherever he wants, doesn't he? He
goes all over the place. Freedom. Do what you want.
He's like the most furthest forward player. You're like, hey, how'd you get there?
It's true. It's really true. But with that in mind, then, so if we've got those potentials coming in, which will be unreal, by the way, and I think we will break these down as end of the season comes in and the rumour mills really kick in. Obviously, I think it's going to be a huge delay in transfers. Either going to try and get stuff done really quick before the World Cup kicks in, or it's going to be after, and it's going to be, when and if, and it's going to be a long old summer probably. But at least you've got the World Cup to look at it. That's not what I want. Sorry, guys, too many images.
There was one I see today, actually, which I thought was quite interesting, which was another Argentinian, funnily enough, even though I don't particularly like them, apart from Alvarez. Was that Nico Paz? From he's at Como at the moment. He was a Real Madrid player, and then he went to Como, who obviously Cesc Fabregas is the head coach there. And they're doing really well there, and he looks like quite an exciting player. And I think it was more like a suggestion rather than a proper rumor as such. But they were saying how he should. Arteta should go for him next, sort of thing. He's a midfielder, creative. It would be quite interesting to see. But sorry, go on to the Lewis Skelly thing.
So just before we go on to Lewis Skelly, what's the name of that? Did he play for? Oh, who's he play for? I don't know if it's Bilbao. Williams, the winger.
Nico Williams.
Nico Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he signed like a 10-year contract, didn't he?
Yeah, he signed the massive. There was a rumour that we were going for him and Barcelona, and I think the Barcelona deal was almost over the line.
And he decided.
And then he decided to stay, and he signed like a ridiculous contract with Bilbao.
10 years, I swear.
And it's like a buyout clause of like 500 million or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And as much as I think he is a good player, but you're not worth that much, mate.
No, exactly. They're just like, I'm not going anywhere. It's a bit like one of our Arsenal players, like a Dowman coming out and going, yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I've signed a really long contract, sort of thing.
Yeah, and actually, I think there's certain players out there that obviously they get touted about almost, don't they? And I think realistically, we've got to look at players that would be an upgrade rather than just going, oh yeah, they're quite good. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, they're quite good. We'll put an offer in on them. Like, no, we want upgrades on what we've got.
Yeah, no, exactly. True, all round, mate. But Well, I think I mean it's like anything. Are we going to have a bigger summer than we probably did last year? No, because we've got a stronger squad than we did. It's just now can we upgrade the quality of those positions?
Yeah,
And obviously,
slightly
I think
tweak it.
exactly. And I think you're going to be looking at left side for 100%. Another midfielder, realistically. Lost you, Vinny, if you disconnected, mate. And I think for me, that's kind of it. Maybe another striker like we're talking about in Alvarez. Then would it be someone like having there to back up with a Gyökeres to rotate for the big games? Havertz in there, but he's kind of doing a bit of second striker midfield role. And again, we could evolve once again. So that
I kind of feel like the Alvarez would be the ideal scenario in that because of his age, because he's still fairly young, but he could slot sort of straight in. But on the flip side, if we weren't to get an Alvarez, then maybe to look at some like a young up and coming sort of striker, who could still play quite a few minutes, but someone that's sort of a bit more raw, kind of someone that could mould into what we want.
Maybe again,
I think that's where we've struggled. You what? Sorry.
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, all the chat was last year, was it Osimhen? That was always a big one. That again, they wanted a lot of money, and his wages were huge. But can you go for something like that?
I think we've done that in terms of buying Gyökeres. Obviously, he's like 28, isn't he now? I think. And I think he will have a good season next season. I think he'll be a lot better.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have faith. I
think time at the club, isn't it? He's going to have a pre-season.
This is what I mean. So we've spent a fair amount on him coming in. Someone who's obviously got a good goal scoring record for a couple of seasons, albeit in the Portuguese league. But I think that's where we need to either kind of upgrade. So get the likes of Alvarez, who I think would be an upgrade. Or go for someone young and raw that is kind of, up and coming, wouldn't necessarily have like a great goal scoring record, but someone that we could mould into what we actually want, rather than where we've bought and some of the players that we've been linked with in the past, like your Osimhens and stuff. You're not going to change them as a player. Yeah, you're not going to mould them into what you want from them in our team. Or if Arteta's still there, in a team that he's going to run, they need to adapt. Whereas if you've got a younger player, you can kind of mould them into what you want, which I think is possibly more what we need to go down that sort of route.
It depends, though. It's a funny one because Arteta and strikers he hasn't got the best of, I don't know. Defensively sound, midfield, he's got it. The strike force, he's not quite down. Like you bought a Gyökeres in who, he's got the ability to go and score and stuff like that, but he doesn't quite know how to use him properly yet. And this is still evolving, I think. But that's why it worries me trying to bring in someone young. Can he do it? I've got a lot of faith in Arteta, but on the striking aspect this season, we've been lacking. So that's the only thing that concerns me. Maybe just bringing someone with experience, or Premier League experience, or just a striking force like we did with Gyökeres, I suppose. But he hasn't made him work. But now is that on Gyökeres? Possibly. Is that on the coaching? I think so as well. There's an element of that. Did not have the pre-season. I think that's a factor, and it's taken him a while to get going. But in 2026, he's been a lot more consistent. Form, scoring a hat trick, and again, it's a different kind of team and stuff like that. So there's all these kind of factors, and I agree with you, Josh. I do think Vinny. I think he'll have a better season next season, just because he's got he already knows the system. He's not coming in trying to learn it on the go. He's had a pre-season, all that kind of stuff. So I think he should start stronger than he did gone this season. And if he's striking like he has in 2026, then you can kind of double the goal tally, maybe. If we can get him into.
I think it would be a massive thing if Sweden make it into the World Cup, because if he's there, it could be. It could be another sort of catalyst for him, like pushing on. If he has a good World Cup.
Yeah, good for his stock.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's conversations like this why I love football. Why I can never be bored of it, because we have polar opposite opinions on this, although we do support the same team. Do you know what I mean? Because I would argue the case all day long. We use terms like have faith and it'll come good in the future one day. Maybe if he gets confidence in the World Cup and he's just got a hat trick and all of that. To me, he just ain't the level.
Yeah,
we're not trying to finish top 4. So we get into the Champions League next season. We're trying to win the league and we're trying to win Europe this season. We're going to be doing the same next season. To me, personally, he ain't the guy. I'm not saying we've got to sell him, but I think we need to buy someone else in that's levels above him. That's a bit more proven. It's the reason why I wouldn't go for a young and up and coming raw player. Yeah. Because I'd like to pair a young and up and raw player with a proven goal scorer in, someone that can cut it in the Premier League. And to me, I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, but then who would you then go for?
Dude, I'll name the stupidest names. I'll name the same name that I've been saying for God knows how long, and it's never going to happen. I was saying Ivan Toney. I wanted him this season because I know he'd want to prove a point coming back into the Premier League, and it's World Cup year, so he's doubly going to want to prove a point because he's going to want to go to the World Cup. He 100% cuts it in the Premier League and he's proven it for much lesser teams. And I personally would have gone for someone like that, but Arteta can't play. He can't play big characters, can he? Anyone that's got a bit of a character, Arteta doesn't like them.
I don't know if I'd agree with Tony. I don't think when you're saying to the level, I don't think he was to the level. I think that's a problem. But we thought Gyökeres was going to be to the level.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
and he's 100%. Maybe there. But next season, I think he's got the opportunity, the platform to build on this year to go to that level. We've been here, hopefully. He proves us all wrong because how many times have we been disappointed? Gyökeres, but then look at the goals he's scored in vital moments where we would have missed it. Someone wouldn't have been in the box to tap it in.
I think,
and that's what he's been there for.
It's quite easy to sort of highlight certain other players based off of sort of essentially highlight reels of of them like scoring goals. I mean, Ivan Toney, right? He scores a lot of penalties. Yeah. So he takes all the penalties. That's how he gets a good goal scoring record. Yes, he does. Obviously, when he was at Brentford and stuff, he scored some good goals. But there was a lot of games as well where he was very quiet. His touch wasn't great. And it's kind of like shades of Gyökeres. I think it's because we watch Gyökeres like week in, week out, like for 90 minutes or however long he's on the pitch, you sort of almost overanalyze the moments that are bad. If you know what I mean, rather than sort of going like, he did actually score.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but
interesting to see the highlights
kind of like you end up highlighting the fact that he lost the ball 3 times or he misplaced a pass 4 times, and but then he did score, and you go, well, that's all right, really. But because you're kind of looking at them like negatives, it's the same for probably 90% of all the other strikers out there at the moment. Like, you'll see the goals and you'll go, God, they're really good. Oh, they've scored like for the last 5 games in a row. But also, if you was to watch them for the 90 minutes or however long they were on there for, they probably cock up a lot of times as well, or don't make the right runs, or have a few bad touches here and there.
You make a good point. That is a good point. That is a good point.
Really, as well, like when you look at it, for me, and I do watch a lot of football, like club football, and there's not really many other strikers out there at the moment that I'd go, I'd really, really, really want them over, to sell Gyökeres and go for someone else. There's not really anyone out there. I mean, Haaland has obviously got an amazing record, but he's dropped off and looks like a bit bang average at the moment. So they all do it. They all go through little spells and stuff like that. So I think give Gyökeres a chance, and I'll eat my words if he has another shit season. I'll be like, right,
I'll feed him to you.
Yeah, send him away. Send him away. Let's get someone else in. But that is again what I mean in terms of like finding someone that's kind of like, I know times are different now, but it's like when we bought Henri, right? He was pretty much an unknown.
Yeah.
He was pretty much an unknown. Like, and he was a winger. He was unhappy. He wasn't necessarily playing very well, so it's quite surprising, really. Apart from the fact that he'd obviously worked with Wenger at Monaco, that we ended up getting him. But then he came, and he even in his first season, he wasn't
slow start.
Yeah, it was a slow start. But then he became a club legend. So you just never know. Like, but that's what I mean in terms of maybe finding someone like young, kind of like a raw talent that you could. I mean, I don't know who we've got in the academy, like striker wise, that could potentially come through, but I think that's also where we lack at the moment. I know obviously we've had Max Dowman, Nwaneri, Lewis Skelly come through, but I think we lack that kind of, and we have lacked even back in the Wenger days, really, like with the academy. For as many players that did come through, striker wise, we've struggled.
It's true. I think no one's really come through from a strike force. They've always then been sold off or not been quite the level. But I think that's going to change. Is that young guy? Is it Munez or something like that? He's like 15 again, like the next Dowman after Dowman, like is coming through as well. I think we've seen quite a lot about him.
He's Mexican, isn't he? Is he Mexican?
Yes, something like that. So young Mexican, long career, but he'd been scoring some bangers as well from in the youth side as well. But
he's not a striker though, is he? He's not a striker. He's like an attacking
again, winger again. Yeah, I think that kind of thing. But I think again, but how many times have we then transitioned someone to a different area? Go, actually, you've got all the skill sets to be a striker or to do this. Let's hone them now. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it would be good. That's one thing we've always struggled with since the Aubameyangs and the Henris and Lacazettes, and we haven't really had that kind of a consistent strike for a while. So that's why maybe Gyökeres just needs a bit of time. And Havertz has kind of been a bit disappointed really since he's come back, because when he first come back and when pinged that ball to Gyökeres, I was like, perfect, that's what we need him for. And he hasn't really done much since, I don't think, for me. I think he's still come off an injury, give him time. But he's been a little bit disappointed, and I thought it was going to be a bit more impactful, but maybe that will come in his next run of games, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But boys, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to wrap it up because I've got my dinner's arrived. We've ordered something in, and I'm going to get in trouble.
Keep it warm.
I was like, it's going to be about an hour. And I was like, yeah. So
I've got questions. I've got questions.
I can leave you and Josh chatting. I don't mind. We've got an Indian takeaway, guys. Little treats.
Oh, no, you've got to have that warm, tomorrow. Got to have that warm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I hope you've got a Rogan Josh in my honour.
A Rogan Josh. I don't know. I just said, here's my credit card. You order something, but for about half time. But what's interesting, because we've chatted, and I could probably chat for another half an hour, to be honest with you, and there's a lot less, there's less going on, isn't there, than the usual.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another show, guys. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, with everything coming up, we need to talk about it. But predictions, we'll talk about
the resurrection of Christ.
Yeah, and that as well. Easter. Yeah, let's definitely part that there. But guys, I will do some sort of mini videos and shorts and stuff like that to work out throughout the week of the upcoming events. But we'll have to send me your predictions, unless you want to chuck it out quickly for Southampton. Go.
No, I don't want to do it now.
No, I definitely need to go, but
we'll end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Find out.
Enjoy your dinner, Dan.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Tell you what, send me a video of your predictions and I'll whack it out all together. I'll bunch them together. That sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, I appreciate your time, guys, as always. And
no
we'll
worries.
see you next week. But I'm looking
forward
to always. Yeah.
Cheers, boss.
Cheers, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Ta.
Bye.